countries all over the world continue to confront the COVID-19 pandemic, the push to find a preventive vaccine to avoid further spread has also intensified. But the quest to find a lasting solution is also being faced with disinformation and vocal resistance from the anti-vaccination movement. Over the past year, seemingly endless conspiracy theories and misinformation campaigns have gained prominence online amidst rising COVID-19 infection rates. Anti-vaccine advocates date back in time. In 1885, during the smallpox epidemic, some medics and individuals were quick to dismiss the vaccine developed to combat the epidemic. At the height of that pandemic, smallpox vaccination was highly debated, despite the evidence in favor of its effectiveness. Anti-vaccination voices were quick to dismiss the threat of smallpox, despite mortality rates between 30 and 40% and the contagiousness of the disease. It was common at that time for antivaccinationists to claim that smallpox was only a minor threat to humans. Over a century later, the world has the benefit of living in a world that has eradicated smallpox using a vaccine. But back then, the push for vaccines was described as a senseless panic caused by health officials, physicians, and pharmaceutical companies who wanted to commercialize the epidemic. The minimization of the threat of any pandemic is a common narrative in contemporary discourse as well. Many who promote the anti-vaccination agenda claim vaccines, when taken, will be more dangerous than the disease. In modern arguments, the focus has always been the false claim that vaccines cause autism. Historic arguments, however, varied in their allegations of infections from the smallpox vaccine. The anti-vaccinationists of the past claimed that vaccination caused a full spectrum of diseases, from smallpox itself to syphilis, typhoid, tuberculosis, cholera, and blood poisoning. These claims were not always groundless, but their risks were consistently exaggerated. Cases had been known to occur of secondary disease transmission due to poor practice. Back then, some physicians were known to have used the same instrument to vaccinate a whole line of people, or used vaccine prepared from a human source rather than a bovine source. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, religious undertones were added to the pandemic after some notable religious leaders claimed the virus was a planned plot by governments to control humans. The most notable theory about the virus was the version that claimed that the 5G technology was trialed in Wuhan, the birthplace of the pandemic. Some claimed that the virus crisis was deliberately created in order to keep people at home, while 5G engineers installed the masks everywhere. Others insisted that 5G radiation weakens people's immune systems, making them more vulnerable to infection by COVID-19. Another theory was that the 5G directly transmits the virus. These different 5G stories are often combined together with other COVID-19 conspiracies to form a toxic cocktail of misinformation. So what is the case against vaccines in Nigeria? In a survey conducted across the country and released in January 2020 by SB Morgen, a leading geopolitical intelligence platform, 39.9% of Nigerians said they would not take the vaccine. 35.9% said they would, while 24.1% said they were undecided. Nigeria is not new to vaccine controversies. Pfizer, the world's biggest research-based pharmaceutical company, was once sued after 11 children died in a clinical trial when the northern state of Kano was hit by Africa's worst ever meningitis epidemic in 1996. 100 children were given an experimental oral antibiotic called Trovan, while a further 100 received ceftriaxone. US-based Pfizer had argued that meningitis and not its antibiotic led to the deaths of the 11 children and harm to dozens of others. But in 2009, it reached a tentative out-of-court settlement with the Kano state government worth $75 million as compensation to the victims. Almost a decade after, and through the help of a vaccine, the World Health Organization declared Nigeria polio-free in 2020. Vaccine development is not some sort of a mystery. It is the process of separating the parts of an infectious agent that make us sick from those that induce an immune response and protect humans from future infections. The scientific evaluation of vaccine involves animal testing, human clinical trials, and post-approval surveillance. In many regards, the evaluation of vaccines is the same as the process for drugs because vaccines are given to healthy people. There is an even greater emphasis on safety and scrutiny by health experts and authorities. So, are you for or against the COVID-19 vaccine? What's your take? Have your say. Let's talk in the comment section below.